facing Shen, that's also a bit good. Cho'Gath has this identity of being able to shred through the tanks and out-sustain them. And with the fact he has that true damage R, it's just a really nice time to have a Cho'Gath in the top lane. And then you have the silence that helps him counter out these mages. I would actually like to say this is a perfect game for Cho'Gath if Active Rush can pull it off.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see exactly how this Cho'Gath pick ends up shaking out. Because again, it ironically enough, it's a little bit feast or famine, right? If the Cho'Gath gets put too far behind, he becomes basically useless. Though if a Cho'Gath is ahead and has the Righteous Glory and can zoom into your backline, he's going to be able to absolutely obliterate some carries and set up some great plays with the alley-oop, with the Rupture, and with that extremely long duration silence.
Curious guess, did you ever see the pro play highlight back when Huni was in Korea, where Huni is on the Cho'Gath and he literally one-shots Italia with only R?
Yeah. To be fair, that was in like season 5 or 6 after Cho'Gath got some of his abilities reworked, and R plus Gargoyle Stone Plate was a extremely fair and balanced interaction.
I wonder if he'll see anything similar with Cho'Gath and Cinder this game, because he is still able to do somewhat similar things. It's not quite the damage he used to have, but it's still pretty painful if you let the Cho'Gath get ahead.
I think it's important to note the difference between being able to one-shot someone with Cho'Gath Feast and do like 65 or 70% of their health. Pretty big deal, right?
Oh, it's a big deal. But I'm curious if we're going to see this Cho'Gath do something similar this game. I'm hoping that we do. It'll make a good clip.
Mm-hmm.
But going on to drafts, I'll say I think Team Mental kind of made a little bit of a mistake here. I've seen teams do this before, where they put over prioritization on flexing, and so since they're picking all the flexible champions, they don't really decide who's going to go where till it's too late. And then even worse, their comp doesn't really have a theme anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because you look at Team Mental, you just ask yourself, what is it actually supposed to do?
Team Mental?
Yeah.
I mean, again, I feel like if you get the Ashe in on this composition, that feels like such a better option, because you're really now relying on the relative mid-range of that Syndra stun to lead off a fight, or for the set to, charge face first in and find an opportunity for that. But you're up against Trundle Pillar, you're up against the Cho'Gath Rupture, and then Ezreal Yuumi. How do you engage against this active rush composition without like a long-range pick-off tool? And I'm very curious to see.
Drafts.
What was that?
I really think Active Rush came out ahead here in drafts. It's going to be hard. Because like you said, with the Yuumi, the Cassie, the Trundle, there's just so many ways they have to stop Team Mental's engagement.
I think a big thing is that if Active Rush can play their composition the way that it is designed to be played, with Cassiopeia getting to that 3 to 5 item setup before being forced to fight, and if Team Mental can't come up with big leads in the early game, Active Rush is absolutely going to have that post 30 advantage.
Oh yes, they are. They might even have just a flat out mid game advantage.
Yeah, it's really hard to sleep on the fact that Ezreal is hands down one of the most efficient 2-item carries in the game, right? I mean, it's actually ridiculous the amount of sheer stat value that Ezreal can output with 2 relatively inexpensive items. I can't think of a single carry I would rather have with about 7,000 gold than Ezreal.
Oh yeah. Ezreal has been, without being too biased, I think Ezreal is actually one of the top 4 best AD carries in the game right now. And a big reason for that is when they removed Kleptomancy, all the Ezreal mains, and justifiably so, were panicking because they literally did not have a keystone anymore. And to this day, they still don't really have a keystone. So what Riot did to fix that is, if you look at the patch note history, they buffed Q over and over and over and over again. So now you get to like this mid-game point where a mid-game Ezreal, if you're just a defensive normal ADC, a WQ will just nearly one-shot you from how overbuffed Q is right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, and you've also seen Ezreal, and this is really interesting to me too, because Ezreal historically was an AD carry where you would see a lot of Iceborne Gauntlet rushes, right? You would have AD heavy, assassin heavy metagames, or you would want to build for a potentially unfavorable matchup bottom. But it's been a long time since Iceborne Gauntlet has really been a thing on the Ezreal radar. It's almost always the Trinity Force rush now. And combine that with a Monomune, or God forbid you get a tier early and can stack it up into a Murmon right out the gate. That is an absolutely outrageous amount of damage coming down right around the 20-minute mark. And just pound for pound, blow for blow, Ezreal will smash at that point of the game. And unlike other AD carries who spike early, kind of like the Misfortune, right, who does a lot of burst, or, that lethality Varus perhaps, Ezreal really does have legs into the late game, hitting any kind of target. Like, he doesn't, like yes, he falls behind in scaling to champions like Tristana or the Vayne, but there's never a point of the game where I think, wow, Ezreal is totally ineffective at his role.
It's not true that Ezreal, despite being memed to death as to say, I am a pansy type AD carry main, Ezreal has a boatload of skill efficiency that demands mastery.
Yes.
And when you see a challenger Ezreal do work, it is actually just art. It's literally art.
I remember watching Bang play Ezreal a couple of seasons ago, and I made a point of watching this clip where he goes off and does like a shocking amount of damage, and between every single ability, he was weaving auto attacks, right? Constantly keeping that up. Ezreal has a shocking amount of bonus damage built into his kit that really does reward aggressive play. Like, the amount of people who disrespect Ezreal's ability to do the extremely cheeky arcane shift forward and just dump damage on someone's face is incredible. Like, the number of times that you just see someone who's at 40% health that thinks that they're safe just get bursted completely out by an Ezreal it's shockingly high.
So then the final question becomes, is this Zyra going to be a big enough bully to keep down the Ezreal Yuumi? Is Syndra going to find these very crucial demanding picks?
100%.
How is the jungler going to cope with all the demands that his laners are going to have? So,
certainly questions that will be answered shortly. We have finished with Spectator Delay. We'll be getting in the game in just a moment here. We'll be right back. Don't touch the dial on the Black Twitch League Twitch.tv channel.
dun.
Good evening, welcome back, everyone. We are here for game number 1 of the night, coming on through. I'm Gas Pump Joe Phantom, and both teams heading on off the fountain for this first one of the best of 5.
Looks like we're just gonna have a normal standard 5-point. No invasion wards. A small little stat coming out of blue side team mental. So we're gonna have some of our questions answered. Is Sire gonna be the bullish he needs to be? Is Set gonna be able to properly pressure? I'm actually kind of concerned though a little bit about the Set jungle because Set has only one way where he really ganks, and it's just run at you fast and press E, and that doesn't exactly work on a Cassiopeia. So if Cinder gets bullied in the early game by Expo, and as we all know, Expo is the flashy guy who looks for those big outplays, life is gonna be a little bit rough.
Yeah, for sure on that one. I mean, gonna have to look out 100% on that. And interestingly enough, we see a pretty messy setup from both of these teams, right? Not exactly the 5 points you're looking for here, but not a huge amount of vision put over the wall, and yeah.
Cheeky will start from the Cassie, gain that one single Ian. Lane is over. It's hopeless. FF now.
Is it? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Oh! Alright, now it really is just FF now. Dear God.
Holy moly. That is... By the way, this is why you don't leash with Zyra plants. Jiminy Christmas, what a mistake.
Oh, that's just set behind easily by a whole minute. That's literally a whole minute.
That's real bad. Yeah. Whew.
And then Trundle's about to get level 3.
Gotta do the best that you can to try and pressure out with the red buff that you have, but man, that's just a rough situation to be in already.
You know what, Set? He wasn't gonna do any early game ganks in the first place. Maybe it was planned. Set was like, you know what?
And, yeah, exactly. Buff transfer complete? I don't know. That's gotta be a bit of a tilter, though. Right?
I'm fishing for compliments. I'm trying to get him something.
Yeah, it's not really, it's kind of gonna be a tough sell to excuse that one, and it's really gonna hurt this set. Though not enormously far behind in experience, and this set's clear, not terrible, so it's just a matter of losing some of that gold, but here's Bladed Thesis. He's already coming in mid lane, getting some damage on down to Victor there, and showing that power. Trundle jungle really does do a lot of damage, but the CC is not super great. You really do want some gank assist to try and lock down those kills, and top lane is the only part of the map that is really going to have that for the early portions of the game, so something to look out for. Look at the top lane.
Things
nice
I was talking about. Cho'Gath does a really nice job in blowing out tanks. A lot of it comes from the percent health damage that his spikes have.
The repeats keys coming through on Victor. Set is around, does not have that red buff. This is not a fight they can take. A great pillar coming through, a solid face break from the Set, gonna force that flash on out there, and a nice grip punch coming on through from that Set. Bladed Thesis looking for it. There's Desire as well as the 80 carry roaming on through. Trundle has that move speed boost. There's the first blood. Finergy over the wall. This is bad for the Zyra, getting dropped lower and lower, but there's the heal. Bladed Thesis in peril. Moonpie will pick that up. Now looking for the Cassiopeia, who finds the way on out to safety. A big punch from the Set, but here's Yuumi to try cleaning this one up. Moonpie definitely in danger on that Zaya, but has the red buff. Flash still available, but no blade surge into the top lane. Religious Beast in danger as he takes that kill. Nicely done. DKT grabbing that one, and Cassiopeia falling in mid. That one going over to Cinder, who teleported back in to assist.
Funny, I was about to compliment Cassie for having really good positioning on battling on that edge of staying alive yet still assisting his team. But unfortunately, that very last minute, just getting ticked by that very last little bit of damage, will be going down. So what could have been a potential 4-3 or a 5-3 just ends up being an even 3-3. But in my opinion, it really looked like that Active Rush was playing that better.
I mean, yeah, Active Rush certainly had the inside track on that one, but when it comes down to some disrespect, and speaking of disrespect, VT Nelson crushed by the burst damage of Moon Pie and Finergy.
Not get to face check a Syra like that. Like, Syra has one job, make you go boom, and make you go boom she did. Just ouch.
Yeah. That's certainly a rough one. Religious Beast is really kind of having a tough time in top lane. That was the solo kill set coming up here as well. Religious close to the level 6 mark. Shen needs to be careful here. I think that picking up that solo kill, gotta respect the feast coming up for the Cho'Gath shortly. Get back to base, get those items picked up, and then, reset and look to pressure further.
One thing I will say that's nice for Team Mental right now is kind of been my belief for a while that one way that you can actually counter Yuumi is to pick a high harassment support like Seraph, Syra, or Brand. And basically what you do is because you're picking such a high harassment support, the ADC is being chunked over and over and over again, and Yuumi does not have the best mana pool. Look at her mana right now, she's already at half. She will not be able to do these infinite heals forever. So just by attacking Yuumi's mana pool is a really good way to counter the champion in lane.
Yeah, without a doubt on that one. And, I mean, looking at already a 10 CS lead for Finergy and Moonpie there, I mean, you're really pushing those advantages. Xayah has not gone back to base yet, is currently sitting on 2,400 gold. I think that getting this wave shoved in definitely going to be a good opportunity to go back, spend that cash.
Yeah, if they're going to back this time to do it. Hopefully they don't greed for it. Oh, they're greeding for that extra bit of plating. Ooh. So, fun little fact, when you're playing in the bot lane, you actually don't want to greed for this extra little tower, because what's going to happen is the wave is going to push back into them, and it's going to have a potential freeze that they do not want to have happen if Ezreal chooses to go for it.
Is the 160 gold split 2 ways really worth messing up your back timing? I mean, I agree with you that it's not, but we'll see how that comes on through there. Ezreal, Yuumi, as well as a Trundle going for that dragon instead of going straight back with lane pressure. So we'll be using this opportunity to pick some of that, and there's really no way for this to be contested. I mean, Syndra and the Trundle are there, and that's the other thing that you lose out on with this questionable back timing. Is the objective or the ability to contest that? Cloud Dragon isn't the worst thing you could give up, but still, it's one of those things like, it just seems needlessly greedy.
But what it does do is, I've been free crafting this for a while, and what I've come to the answer to concluding is that the first dragon is probably the most important of the first two. Because the way you want to play the game is, you want to get the first dragon, put yourself in line to get that soul, and then what you do now is you don't have to worry about the second dragon. You can just put all your focus on getting the Rift Heralds, because you already have one under your belt.
Yeah, I mean, and Rift Herald is oftentimes a far stronger objective than either of the first two dragons, right? The effects are minimized, you're not going to be double stacking those, and the Rift Herald can buy so much early game strength for the champion who does get those plates picked up, who is potentially able to get that first tower. And I mean, bottom lane with the turret as low as it is could be a prime target for that usage if we do see Jakey set prioritizing that objective.
That being said, we're going to just see a standard lane kingdom type setup where everybody is content in staying in lane. No cheeky Rift Herald swaps today. Always makes me sad to see that missed. But I think so far in the BTL, no one has actually tried it out yet, so no surprise there. These are people who just want to stay in lane. They want a lane kingdom. They want to do the fancy outplays. And here we go right now.
Thesis is up here, set in the area as well. Is backing off, doesn't want to mess with that Trundle, and I certainly do not blame him as none of those further items. Zyra popping that ult down just a little early there, bottom.
That's also a lot of fret gone, and when it comes to Zyra, a lot of ways to avoid ganks is by holding on to that ultimate and saying to the jungler, I dare you to gank me because my ultimate will hurt you. And that's a resource that's gone for about, I think, 70 seconds? Somewhere around that time frame. Maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah. So it's a fairly sizable cooldown. So, you know, it's one of those things. Trigger discipline's such a big deal. Ooh, DKT finding the Trundle here. Does have that shield as well as the Twilight Field, but the rest of his team not there or present. Is going.
He has no armor.
Pillar, not a lot of armor, and here comes the Cho'Gath with the feast, easily picking up that kill. A big mistake from DKT. Total disrespect from the Shen. Jeez, but Storm.
Early here. Oh no.
Okay. Oh,
Wait,
okay. Looks like we act. So, pause buffer ends up being used if there is a pause, and it was very quick. So, Storm already back here. Peach lost it, but man, look at how low this turret is getting already. The pressure from the Xayah. Zyra and the Xayah absolutely insane. The Shen coming on through here. Flash taunt onto Expo, who does have that cleanse, forcing the flash out of Victor as well. Here comes Jakey on the set. The dunk as well. The damage. A perfect face breaker. And now Bladed Thesis certainly under peril is brought back down towards the bottom lane, forcing the flash defensively from Finergy as well. Just fights all across the map. And man, Bladed Thesis almost paying for that one with his life. Expo did, in fact, go down there as well. So great fight there, and a fantastic dunk from Jakey's set. Doing a great job closing that one out.
It's really weird. When we watch Active Rush, we're really used to Expo being that big highlight player, and we're really used to Expo having really good synergy with his junglers. They're almost always win a 2v2.
Set is up here. Feast is available for the Cho'Gath, but DKT still has quite a lot of health available.
Can he 2v1?
A lot of punishment. There's a punch coming up, and the shield perfectly timed. DKT with the assist, the taunt, the kill. Really good. Now Expo in danger in the mid lane. Grounded coming through onto Zyra, finding that damage. The poison ticks on down, and Expo claims that kill in the 1 versus 2. Very well handled from the mid laner of Active Rush.
See, Expo, he heard me, and he's like, "You talking smack? All right, I gotta prove you wrong."
I mean, sure did. That was a very good play from the Cassiopeia, and it feels like Finergy was kind of disrespectful. I mean, like, yes, you're in the 1v2 situation there, but you're Zyra against a Cassiopeia. It's a lot of damage, and if you can't dodge out of the way of those Cassiopeia Qs, you're just going to get melted.
And it really does make it scary because if you were to talk about Syndra and Cassie, I would say Syndra is the best mid-game champion right now, while Cassie is the best late-game champion right now.
Right.
So we're really going to see the battle of the spikes. Who's going to play it better? Will Active Rush survive the mid-game?
Bladed Thesis could be in trouble here, but Yuumi, the speed boost, get him on out to safety teleport, channeled in from the Cho'Gath. They're going to be looking.
They have a numbers advantage.
Numbers advantage is into the pop-up landing onto the Shen. They're dogpiling that as well as the Cassiopeia coming from behind. Set trying to make it work. Ret Religious Beast very, very low. Victor at his sliver as well. Bladed Thesis Goomba stomps Victor as well. But the Blade Collar coming on through in the root onto VT Nelson. They end up cleaning up the Yuumi, but the follow-up is there. A 1 versus 2. Cassiopeia still behind. Has an appreciable amount of health. The Yuumi healing up Storms Ezreal, and looks like this fight may be called off as the rest of the team looking to collapse. Health bar still fairly low.
Active Rush needs to get out now.
I mean, Victor has the teleport as well as DKT. Stand United coming up shortly. He is already on location. Force them on back there. Ocean Dragon, the second dragon of the game, would be a good pickup for either of these teams. But Syndra is here, and Rutledge making a final mistake. DKT picking up a 3rd kill there, and a nice route lands onto the Ezreal, the Zyra ult, a moment too late. Secure that follow-up.
Active is doing an okay job right now handling the mid-game power, but the set, what he brings to these team fights, when he looks at the Cho'Gath and says, you know what, I'm going to just make you hit your own teammates. You're building tank, I'm going to have fun with that.
Oh, yeah, the dunks from this set have been on point across all of these games, and that fight down bottom was very close. Like, in the immediate term, We did see Team Mental to going down, losing 2-1, but it was Active Rush sticking around too long. Ended up Rutledge overstaying, not nearly enough health. Victor Cinder teleported back on in there and ended up cleaning up that kill as well as putting in position for that dragon. So it feels like both of these teams are still a little tentative here, but Team Mental definitely coming up with these advantages as they are taking the fights, taking the objectives, and just doing a pretty good job overall of handling this mid game.
Where Team Mental will have to be very, very careful with Active Rush's comp is Active Rush has the Yumi. And if they do these two-phase type fights that we saw just now, where they fight once, they back away, and they just stare at each other, Team Mental will not be able to do that in the late game because Yumi's just gonna play Team Medic, heal up her entire team. So by the time round 2 starts, Active Rush will have the health advantage. So Mental will have to be on the watch for that and end these fights quickly because Active Rush has the out-sustain.
Ooh. Jakey came up, tried for the face breaker, but Rutledge had his dancing shoes on, able to mosey on out of that situation and find himself to safety lane. So coming top for Finergy as well as Moonpie. Nice dodge out as well. Rutledge's Beast in danger. Jakey coming on through here. Flash Force from Rutledge as well as the Yumi ult gathered from that disengage attempt. And yeah, once again, just both teams very tentative to fully engage. Very willing to burn defensive cooldowns, and it feels like this is kind of the classic game one of a best of series situation where both teams really haven't hit their stride in terms of comfort coming in, right? So I suspect this is the game one jitters play, and once both of these teams find their pace, but TKT going in hard on that Cassiopeia made a huge mistake. There's the flash, but Victor to potentially save his top laner Expo at 250 health. They have the vision, and the ult comes up short. Victor cleaning up that kill off of a, in hindsight, brilliant bait by DKT.
I'm really curious how Expo's gonna adapt this game, because Expo is so used to being able to basically...
Here, Finergy in trouble. Here's the ultimate in from Deshen, looking for Moonpie. The feathers fly. They do get the root onto the Ezreal. No further follow-up available. Moonpie is saved at the cost of that ultimate. And maybe some... It's just both of these teams making just over-aggressive posturing to be punished back and forth at the enemy team's leisure.
It's all just never-ending fights, this game. But going on an earlier note, what I'm curious about is how is Expo going to adapt to this game? Because he's just really used to smurfing on his opponents, because he's one of the few diamond mid laners in his league. And then going on to that fact, you can't really do that against Victor, because Victor, he's going to swatch himself.
Oh, Nelson in trouble. A nice dunk there from Jakey. Easily picking that up, and a nice shield to save himself the trouble of the tower shot. I don't think it would have been enough to kill him either way, but still, it's the thought that really counts there.
It looked cool.
Yeah. Style points.
I mean, we had this conversation, Mike. That's like the funnest champion to be a play-by-play caster for. His abilities are just cool.
Moonpie does force the ultimate, or the teleport, pardon me, out of the Shen to get back to lane to defend. Expo was up there along with Storm8, but it just feels like there is such a strange pace to the fights that we've been seeing in this game. There's a very serious reluctance to commit. Energy does have the flash available. A nice Zyra ultimate pops up through, but Rutledge's Beast is here, landing the Rupture, and Expo taking that kill. Finergy just posturing so aggressively. Both of these teams constantly so far up without vision, without safety, and picks just getting traded back and forth.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a game. Score is 10-8. Team Active Rush is going to snag themselves an Earth Dragon most likely right here. But it looks like Team Mental is not going to give this out easily. They're posturing aggressively.
Oof. Yeah, this the damage from this Cinder starting to come online, right? Has the Luden's Echo, the Spell Pen boots. That's a lot of damage coming through. The Cassiopeia, not a slouch in the slightest either, but doesn't have the same kind of a reach in a team fight that the Syndra can. I'm very curious to see how they're going to look to play this one with Respawn come through for Finergy. Still quite a while until that ultimate is available for the Zyra. Moonpie Back of the fight, Set looking to go on in
Oh,
your
no.
face. Breaker will miss. That's a major cooldown to be lacking. Stand United, still a few more seconds from coming up. Looking to try and force them off of this dragon, but Trundle just whomping on that vision. Getting that cleared on out there, and this is the classic dragon posture, but the better positioning certainly in favor of Active Rush here. A nice Trundle pillar, and Jake goes into the backline, stuns too, but the rest of the team certainly not in position to follow. Bladed Thesis is going to get dropped. Jungler for jungler. Rutledge's Beast maybe next up on the chopping block. Stormmate off on the sidelines. For now, it's a 1-4-1. Both junglers dead means no smite fight. Rutledge's Beast was forced to use the Feast. Looks like that might not have been communicated as both teams backing off of this dragon. The healing from the Yumi, certainly a factor. A nice stun landing, and the taunt is there. Stormmate falls. VT Nelson dropping down low. The feathers fly. Next up is Cho'Gath, the double kill for the Zyra. The flash, the stun. Victor is going to eat that. Stand United, as well as Expo, who is ignited and brought down by the Zyra for a triple. And it's a huge fight win, and the dragon for the side of Team Mental.
Bladed Thesis, and Active Rush in general, they're just not sticking together. Like, they have an amazing comp for stopping the set, with Cassiopeia grounding people down, with Yumi having a very easy phalanx position that she can hold down. All you really need to do is just stand in front of them and say, go in, I dare you. We will stun you, and then we will shred you to pieces, but they're just not holding formation.
I think such a big factor in these fights has been Victor 506's Syndra stuns, right? Time after time, singling out those priority targets and allowing the rest of the team to jump on them. And look at this play from Moon Pie Xayah, 8-0-1, absolutely popping off this game.
Something that we really didn't get the chance to talk about with Active Rush is that what can be a bit of a weak point for Active Rush is their bot lane. This is no takeaway from them. It's not their shining oyster. And when you look at Team Mental, they have won so many games just through bot lane difference.
What's a shining oyster?
Listen, I'm running out of words here.
Yeah, I believe you may have mixed your metaphors there, Phantom. So, but no, you make a really good point, right? Like, Moon Pie and Finergy clearly had a lot of draft economy put to get that strong bot lane duo, and I've seen Stormmate and VT Nelson. Their team drafts for them to be role players, right? They are not expected to go off. They are not given the resources to necessarily go off. They are put down bottom, do the best that you can, and I mean, they have in this game. 1-1-3. On the Ezreal, not doing badly at all. VT Nelson's got caught out, but that's, I feel, maybe more of a reflection of some of the fights that the Active Rush team has taken and that VT Nelson's been a victim of. So it's a tough situation to be in when you're in a bot lane that has received a ton of economy versus one that hasn't. But, I mean, the prioritization of the bot lane draft with Moonpie and Finergy has certainly paid off for the side of Team Mental this game, as you can see by the score lines.
Although our predictions did come true, where Team Mental is the superior mid-game drafted team. So now, can they close this out within 7 minutes? Because if this game is still going on by 30-35.
By Storm, as Bladed Thesis comes up, looks to try to make things happen on Victor. The Ignite comes through from the Yumi, looking to chase this on down. Cassiopeia is here, but Jakey may be in trouble. Bladed Thesis gets some speeders from the Yumi. This is a fight they're looking to take a huge stun onto Finergy. DKT is here, looking to harass Expo. Bladed Thesis has that damage, looking to escape. The healing from the Yumi is huge, but not nearly enough. Cho'Gath finally coming up top here. DKT forcing him on back. Yumi is onto that priority carry. A pop-up onto 2. The feast is almost up for Rutledge's Beast, looking to chase this down. It's a 3 versus 3. The slow lands onto the Zyra, but the rupture just ever so short.
It could have so dangerous when Cho'Gath landed that rupture, but unfortunately Active Rush, they're just not on the same page with this game. I don't know if they're just not calling things out, but the moment Cho'Gath landed that rupture, that should have been a dead Team Mental.
I think a big thing to look at too is that look how long it took for Rutledge to rotate up there. They must have had vision that he could have teleported onto to get there faster. And if he's there 5, 10, maybe even 5 seconds sooner. That is such a huge difference that takes in the fight. If Bladed Thesis doesn't get focused nearly so hard, maybe you see a stronger turn. But as it stands, it's a nice play, but only a 2 for 2.
So before the chaos came, as I was saying, is Mental actually going to end this within the next 6 minutes? Because they really need to. Because his Cassiopeia, this Cho'Gath,
Right.
they are getting scarier and scarier as this game gets longer.
But
We
you also
saw
look at
Expo
the
do
other
so
side.
much work in that fight.
I mean, absolutely. But you have to look at the other side, which is that Moon Pie is huge in the Xayah, right? 3 items fully built on board compared to the item and a half for the Ezreal. Absolute terror if he's allowed to exist in these fights. Zyra can just hit all of her buttons and die, and it's fine. This is a composition that does not have fantastic late game scaling, but it's not like they're dead in the water if this goes to 35 or 40 minutes.
In the water.
Ooh, the ult from the set into the backline. Face breaker onto 2. Looking for Bladed Thesis. Jakey trying to make it work, but Cassiopeia coming into the fight. DKT doesn't get the taunt onto 2. Bladed Thesis, but that's a huge stun coming on through. Cassiopeia very, very low. The target prioritization not there. Cassiopeia looking to kite it out. Expo does end up dropping. Moonpie looking for those targets in the backline, but they have traded 1-4-2, 2 absolutely crucial members down. This dragon now spawned the second Earth of the game and a potential third for the side of Team Mental.
Zyra is such a good champion controlling space, and it's so underhyped. A mechanic I wish people talked more about in League of Legends is just a champion's ability to go to a location and say, "This is mine," and that is something Zyra does so well with her plans.
Yeah. Zyra, probably the best zone control support in the entire game. Right? She can just deny so many portions of a fight as long as she has time to set up. That's the huge factor, is that if Zyra gets to a location first, it is so hard to charge through there, and especially with this aggressive support itemization, you go the Leanderies. That's a lot of damage. It's going to burn straight through the health pools of the Cho'Gath and the Trundle. So taking a look at the game state here. 27 minutes on the clock, 19-12 here, 3 dragons to 1 in favor of Team Mental. Looking pretty good here, right? But as you said earlier, Phantom, the later this game goes, the more difficult it may be for Team Mental to navigate these fights. Expo getting bigger and bigger, closing in on that Zhonya's power point for the Cassiopeia. And the rest of the team not a slouch either. Ezreal nearly at that Trinity Force, which will help him out, but this is an Ezreal who's been pretty starved as far as gold economy is concerned.
So, I did do a lot of commenting towards Team Active Rush's comp and delay game, but there's one thing I want to mention. Triple Earth Dragons is a lot of extra magic resist.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be tough for some of these players to chew through, and it's not like this is an obscenely high damage composition outside of the
Expo's not going to carry build. He is going defense.
Oh, yeah, that's third item Zhonya's. I mean, that's not bad if you feel like you're getting singled out, but that's not the way that you straight up win this game, right? That delays the ability for the Cassiopeia to actually go big in a fight by so much.
It's a really big deal with the fact this is triple Earth Dragon, which buffs the hell out of armor and magic resist. So you have a Cassiopeia with no shredding items, with tanks who are already stacking tons of armor and magic resist on the enemy team.
Yeah. 12% bonus currently, up to 18 if they secure a third. Along with that, regenerating shield would be a major pickup for the side of Team Mental. 2.5 minutes till that dragon spawns. You should keep an eye out for that one. I think it's going to be a major factor in this game.
But on the reverse, if this game could somehow extend to 40 minutes, imagine a Cho'Gath with triple Earth.
Right, is a big boy. Oh man, the pop-up onto multiples. This may be the fight. They're looking to take. Cheeky dunks in the backline, but a huge face breaker from the set leads off the fight. Will follow, but a great follow-up there from the Yuumi as well. Feathers flying, trying to find those priority targets. Shen into the backline, but can't quite find his target. That's a huge shield. A big shutdown into the Xayah. It's going to be Active Rush turning the fight. DKT will fall as well. It's a 3-4-1 so far. They want even more. The pop-up lands onto Victor. Ezreal shreds, and that's going to be Finergy falling as well. Stormbringer triple kill, and the game turns favor of Active Rush.
Like we said, it is 30 minutes. Active Rush's comp is online.
Oh my god, what a disastrous play from the side of Team Mental. Set goes into the backline, lands an incredible facebreaker, but the terrain generation from Bladed Thesis was so huge there, completely slowing the ability of Team Mental to get into that fight, and then DKT goes too deep, can find his stun target, and a brilliant use of that Archangel staff from the side of Expo. The Seraph's Embrace Shield coming through clutch and just shredding through that team. And look at the way that Storm 8 played that fight. Q's landing like hammer blows from that Ezreal. Triple kill coming on through, completes the Trinity Force, and 2 major component items besides. This is such a huge shift in momentum for Team Active Rush.
Shutdown goals were given. Someone took down Xyz. Someone got that big bounty. It's a whole new game now, and it's in the favor of Active Rush.
Yeah. Man, it looked for so long like Team Mental had this unlock, right? They were finding all the fights, they're doing all the stuff they needed to do. But just like that game flip when I said, Active Rush takes the fight, takes the Baron, maybe looking to take the Dragon as well. And if you can deny this, that's another 5 minutes that they don't have to worry about the Mountain Soul. And this is just such a huge roadblock to the forward progress of this mid-game spiking team.
Oh, they're gonna be careful here.
Oh, a nice pop onto the Xayah, but can't find any follow-up through. Looking to force them out. Unable for them to actually contest this dragon. Cassiopeia is down there already looking to shred it, just chewing through that thing's health bar single-handedly. Mental is just not in position to try to make this work. Like, yes, they lose a mid-tower to minions. That's fine. Getting that
the territory is more important.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, what a huge Trundle pillar. Finergy locked out of the angle he wants to take back under that tower, but they won't be able to punish, at least at the moment. Need to push on up here. Religious Beast leading the charge. Stun from the central will land. Pop up just a little bit short. Rupture quite enough. The silence lands onto Jakey. A nice ult from the Cassiopeia, but no stun. Set dunking into the backline. That's a ton of damage, but Storm8 already in a rampage. Victor tries for the stun, but can't find his mark. Storm healing so much from VT Nelson's Yuumi as they now aggress onto this inner mid lane tower. The snare lands from the Zyra, but a great pillar from the Trundle. They find Victor. The slows are huge. DKT eats the CC, forced to taunt on out, but Cho'Gath is there looking for the backline. Moonpie at blinking health totals. Rupture not going to land, but that's not necessary as they force their way onto this mid lane inhibitor tower. They'll take the first inhib of the game as their respawns are ticking for Jakey and Victor. The rest of Active Rush retreats back to spend their hard-earned gold.
It's getting harder and harder from Set. People have always been saying, Set is OP, Set is OP, but there's been a few naysayers who've been saying, no, Set is not OP. He does have weaknesses. And everybody's like, what? Well, you don't know what his weaknesses are? Anti-engagement. Get yourself a Yuumi. Get yourself a Cassie. Set does not get to have fun anymore. Set does not get to go in blindly without being shredded to pieces when you have these really solid anti-engagement champions in the team comp. Sure, he's going to be a dominant laner in almost all matchups, but when it comes into team fights, his life will just get harder.
I think a big thing that you need to look at for this set here is looking at the build, right? This is a set who went Cinder Hulk into Blade of the Ruin King. This is not efficient itemization, right? And if you look at the side of Trundle, who committed to the Cinder Hulk and then went straight for the tank with the Gargoyle Stone Plate and the Knight's Vow for that carry threat on the Cassiopeia, it is such a more gold efficient set of gold. Like, yes, you're down 50 CS, you're down gold. That's fine. It doesn't even matter because your job is going to be one to really set up your team. And it feels like the set, like, yes, you have great engagement, but damage is not what you need. You need that survivability. Are going to be seeing a DC here real quick as we head on into a brief pause.
Reading chat here, Cho'Gath is talking about he's being fed real good, and if you zoom over to Cho'Gath, you'll see, yes, he is indeed a very fed boy. Mama, what are you feeding Cho'Gath? Because I could use some of that right now. I'm so sorry.
right? But gonna be seeing the reconnect come through from the Cinder. Now, worth mentioning, despite this major shift in momentum, Active Rush only up a couple hundred gold. So, yes,
I thought I
Phantom?
was bad.
What was that?
Cho'Gath said there's no such thing as too big.
Thank you, Cho'Gath. Very cool.
And I thought I was bad.
We should be getting back into game here in just a moment with the restart.
Alright. So, Will said and Shen be able to find a way in. Most likely not. We're at 33 minutes. No one has secured Soul quite yet. Baron is off the table for a couple more minutes at least. Inhib down for mid. If you are on the side of Team Active Rush, what you're really looking to do is divide up resources on the map. Everybody get your little 50-50 CS. Keep Cho'Gath on the sideline. Then just pile down onto this bottom inhibitor. Because if you can get this bottom inhibitor, it is basically game. Bottom inhibitor, easily one of the most valuable inhibitors in the game. Purely because of its location and having those bot lane super minions.
I mean, I think it's. I would say that it's one of the single most. It is the single most important non-neutral objective in the game, short of taking enemy nexus, right?
Because once you have it, like you just control all the top side.
Yeah, which is so huge, but. By coming on through, Expo making a huge mistake. Big heal from the Yumi. The Gripwood's coming on through. But look at this kiting from Expo. Turns on that zone. His hourglass is bleeded. Thesis chomped down on Jakey. Rutledge coming on through with that move speed. DKT in trouble, but will dodge on out of that. Here's Ezreal trying to make it work. A nice stun onto 2. That true shot barrage finding its one target. The Trundle Pillar now actively hindering his own team. Bladed Thesis very, very low. Rutledge's beast still continuing that charge. Big pop-up in onto Moonpie. Drive down to sub 100 health, ticking, burning, but still alive for the time being. Mystic shots still landing. Ezreal damage is absolutely enormous, but they've got a wave of super minions heading into this base. They're trying to force off that retreat, but with only 1 kill taken, they'll have to back off without anything else to prize.
Fine, they have top minions as well.
Man, and it's stuck doing cleanup duty in base. Team Mental needs to take a moment here. Baron spawning in under a minute, as well as the next Earth Dragon. This game is certainly coming down to the wire, but it feels slowly but surely like it's slipping out of the grasp of Team Mental. The super creeps coming on down the mid lane. Going to make it real tough for this squad to push out safely. Also keep control
Mental
of this map.
just desperately needs to find someone that's out of place, make a pick, and force a 4v5. But what's going on now is that's becoming harder and harder, because Active Rush is saying, we need to stay together as a unit. We need to make sure we're dividing our resources up properly, but nobody is allowed to get picked off. And it really shows in their gameplay, because within the past couple of minutes, I don't think anybody on Active Rush has actually been picked at all.
Yeah, I mean, Jakey certainly tried in the last fight. Like, dumped a ton of cooldowns onto the Cassiopeia to try to make it work. Starting up the Baron, this is an absolute
mistake.
Desperate play. They have to. They say we have to go now. Have to try to make it work. Moonpie already dropped down to half. Bladed Thesis in the front line. What a huge pop for the Guardian Angel. Jakey trying for Bladed Thesis and the backline. Cassiopeia rotating on up. Rutledge's Beast doesn't even care. Locking in the set. A huge 4-man pop-up. Finergy now in danger, as well as Moonpie is trying to shred down these health bars. Rutledge's Beast gets the last hit with that empowered auto attack. Storm goes on through and is now dominating as he takes out Victor. That's the last one. It's only Shen left, and DKT can't survive the onslaught. Finergy sent back to base, 4 kills, 2 for the Ezreal, and a certain game win for the side of Active Rush. Man, what an ult from the Cassiopeia as well. The ace completed by Expo's Cass, and the turnaround is complete. Active Rush making it happen in just under 40 minutes with a big Game 1 win in this best-of-5 series.
Oof. What we had here was just a good old classic where, as blue side, you can't reveal your hand that early of what you wanted to do. It's just how to say it. When you're drafting, you have an idea of how you want to play. But if you reveal it just too early, then Red Side is given the powerful ability to just draft champions that stop what your comp wants to do. And so, sure, you're going to have the early game, but
Mhm.
if you can't close that out in time, Red Side will just naturally have the scaling advantage. And that is where it becomes very scary to be a blue side offensive type team. And it did come back to haunt them. Another thing that
Yeah.
I would like to criticize mental where hopefully they can clean it up going into the future games is you really don't want to overflex everything in your first three picks. Because what happens is, and I've been in this experience myself when drafting, if you have free complete flex picks, by the time you hit your 4 and your 5, people are going, okay, who goes where, and they don't even understand what type of theme they want to go for. And so you end up with this confusion of the identity of your team comp and what exactly it's supposed to do. And I feel that is exactly what came to haunt them throughout the final steps of this game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you just have to look at this. This is a classic case of composition that's looking to win by 30 minutes, going past that point, and having Active Rush turn the corner with their own late game composition. Expo came online. Storm 8 went off that game. I actually think that while the Cassiopeia had a fantastic game, the real MVP of the squad in that match was Storm 8's Ezreal. As soon as he got those kills in the first fight that they turned, he was a powerhouse. With that being said, we'll be back in just a few more minutes for our second game of the night. You won't want to miss it here on the Black Twitch League Twitch.tv channel.
Back with the Black Twitch League. Gas Pump is out getting a drink of water, I believe, so it'll be me holding up for it in a time.
And also me. I got that. Sorry. I just forgot to unmute my mic because I'm really dumb. So we're already the second champions. Like, but I think you have a message you would like to share with the stream, Phantom.
All right. So we got Ishtar coming up in hot with them sick ass bars. And from a message from Team Ishtar to both teams going out right now, we're just watching to see who will lose to Team Ishtar in finals. Sponsored by Tygoon 12. GG.
I really do appreciate a team that's already in finals, you know, looking at their next set of opponents coming into this best of 5. I love
Israel
seeing
doesn't
all
even
that
see
one
them as
there.
opponents.
So
They're just seeing them as free money. They're just saying, come
yeah.
over here, see me in finals, give me my money.
All right. It looks like there was a ban that should have been up. It's LeBlanc is the missing ban. Thank you, Pro Draft, very much. But taking a look at the bans here, Yumi, Ezreal, LeBlanc versus Zoe, Nami, Zyra. The Yumi Ezreal, I think, was something that Team Mental has very accurately identified as a huge source of success for Active Rush in the previous game, right? Because Stormmaid had a fantastic performance, and VT Nelson did a very good job of keeping that backline around and had some absolutely fantastic uses of that final chapter, right? Really locking down the fights, preventing that engage, and Team Mental going back to the Shen, and Active Rush looking for the Caitlyn Morgana immediate lock. I love it. Such a classic, safe, early pickable lane.
Fun fact. Morgana is a champion that has been almost religiously banned by everyone when facing Active Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Team Mental in both games has opted not to ban Morgana, and this time Active Rush is saying, we're bringing it out. We're bringing out the beast.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good choice to be sure. It does a lot here for them, and I think that you know certainly gives that kind of power.
So when you look at Vladimir and you look at Team Mental, there is not a single champion in Mental's team that actually just stops Vladimir from doing work right now.
And I mean that's what makes it such a ridiculous pickup, right? Holy moly!
I'm really curious though. If this Vladimir, there's 2 builds that are actually really signature for Vladimir. The first one is the new one. It's the more mainstream build where you rush all the CDR items. You go CDR runes, and you're just spamming Qs and Es left and right. Yeah. And then there's the other one that I favor, where you literally rush a death cap and
1,000 degree
and a spellbinder.
Vladimir.
And the goal here is you get to death cap and you get the spellbinder as fast as possible, and E will just actually destroy the entire team comp.
Yeah.
And you know, Expo's a flashy guy. I could see him doing it.
I mean, it's one of those builds where you're looking at a Janna Misfortune. Those are 2 very squishy champions. You have to lock your build in before you get in game, right? So I think you've got some choices here for how you want to approach this Vladimir, how to build this Vladimir, and don't also sleep on the damage amplification that comes down from that Hemo Plague, right? Like that is an outrageous amount of bonus damage that you get across an entire team, and it can really make the difference in a lot of fights. Trundle once again locked in as the jungle pick for Active Rush. I think it was played to great effect by Bladed Thesis, who's going to be back on that pick, and I certainly don't blame him. Also, the Pillar, a great tool to use against that Misfortune and that Janna.
So Active Rush, I believe they were the original team to ban Graves. No, was it Team Mental? I think it was actually Team Mental that banned Graves. But point is that Graves is being picked up this game. But I find it weird where you have an Orianna, and the only person you really have that can deliver this ball is the Shen. Yes. And then you have Trundle, who is going to eat away at the Shen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pardon? That's a Zed lock.
This is the power of a flex pick. This is the power of flexing, because Orianna is a champion that many people will say beats Vladimir. So you have Team Mental, they see the Vladimir, they go, all right, Orianna versus Vladimir, let's go. But then you have Active Rush, who says, hey, you have an Orianna, I see your entire comp, I want me my Zed.
What answer do they have for this Zed? Like, you've got Orianna, Ball, Shen, Taunt, maybe a Janna Monsoon if you land it immediately and Zed doesn't ace his combo. Like, that is such an interesting pick, and it also opens up a incredibly strong split pushing presence, right? Like, yes, there's a point of the game where Shen will have the ability to hold lane against the Zed, but it's going to take quite a while for this to actually, surmount that wall. And in the meanwhile, Zed just has so much ability to get across the map. I love this comp from Rush.
I think Rush is really impressing us with some really good, clever, old-fashioned drafting strategies
Yes.
where you use the Vladimir, you bait the enemy team into picking Vladimir's counter, and you just say, "Psych! He's going top," and it is just working out so well for Active Rush.
I think the big thing here is that this is a real showing of what the power of Red Side can be if you are smart about drafting. And we saw this yesterday in a couple of games where Team Ishtar was looking to bait out certain picks top lane. And one of the ones that I saw in the third game that really impressed me is that they took the first pick Ornn and then punished the Ornn counter with a Mordekaiser. So,
and it takes a lot of work. There's a lot of work and study that goes into a good, proper drafting because you got to find out what does the enemy team play, what is in their limitations, what counters these specific champions, what counters those counters. Like there is such a size that goes into it that takes a lot of perfecting, and it's not over for Team Mental. They have their win conditions. They can get a Misfortune Channel Ultimate. They can get Graves to pop off. Maybe Shen can get that right taunt. Janna, if she's playing on freaking point, she can actually completely negate the Zed, but she's gonna have to play to near perfection levels. So we were having a reverse where Active Rush, they were playing a very complicated comp in the last game that had to be done right, and this time Metal, they're the ones who are playing on hard mode, the highest skill cap comp that's gonna be all about reaction timers. And really, if there's gonna be an MVP of this game, it's gonna have to be the Janna, because if Energy is not saving lives left and right by canceling out Zed and Vladimir, this is gonna be painful. But here is the one big problem. Vladimir is a direct counter to Janna because Janna has no way to knock away or blow away to Vlad once he's in his Sanguine pool.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see how this matchup plays out because again, Shen is actually a very strong laner. And it feels like, yes, there are some champions that can really put Shen on the back foot, but he has a surprising amount of damage baked into his kit, right? Especially if you get the pass through with that Spirit Sword. You really do have a shocking amount of dueling power, especially if you do offer something like a Titanic Hydra in the late game. So we'll have to see how DKT is going to navigate that one. But overall, again, this draft from the side of Active Rush just has a lot going for it. And I want to see also how Storm8 and VT Nelson handle this bot lane in a much more favorable 2v2 matchup.
Talked about yet though, as well, Active Rush has a decent, okay team fighting. They have an even superior 1-3-1. So if Team Mental can't be like a battering ram and just run straight through the mid lane, Active Rush, they're just gonna have minions pushing in on every single side of the map. And I'm wondering, does Team Mental get completely overwhelmed by that? Because we've all been there where there's a Nasus or a Trinamir who just split pushes against us forever, and then next thing you know, he's at your Nexus. Does Zed or Vladimir actually accomplish that this game? I don't know. Stay tuned.
Yeah, goodness gracious. And it raises questions, right? So looking at this 5v5 setup from both of these teams, right, Phantom? What are the interactions that we really want to look out for to see what tilts this game in either team's favor?
It's going to be all about Janna. It really is, because the big reason why nobody likes playing Zed or Talon into team play, because all you need is a single Janna to ruin your life. She is such an amazing champion at completely countering plays. Most supports in this game are Braum, Leona. There's so many ways to stop these type of champions, but it requires skill, it requires proper timing, and it's just not a really easy thing to do. But then, rewinding back to another point I made earlier, there's a very scary part for this Janna. Nothing in her toolkit can stop a fed Vladimir. Vladimir cannot get fed this game. If Vladimir gets fed this game, it is 100% an L.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, Phantom. And I mean, there's just so many things that could potentially tilt these matchups. Like let's say that Misfortune gets ahead in the early game. That's the kind of blasting power that makes it behind. Or if Vladimir is capable of bullying Shen out, you also look at the jungle matchup. Neither of these junglers are what I would consider extreme hard down, lethal, powerful gankers, but they both have a ton of damage that they can bring to a 2v2 situation. The Trundle Pillar is, I have always believed to be the really a significant amount of skill expression for the champion and
Oh,
proper pillar
100%.
placement. Yeah, I think it's like
And we saw in
basically
game one, like Trundle literally
Yeah.
ended the game with a 4-man pillar.
Hmm.
That pillar
There
was
were-
disgusting.
there were multiple pillars that Trundle put down that ended up hugely impacting the fights for his team in a positive manner. And it's all about respecting that Trundle can totally ruin your ability to handle the fight in the jungle. And when combined with someone like, say, I don't know, a Cho'Gath who has a very low cooldown AoE knockup on the Rupture, that combination with the Trundle ended up just cooking Team Mental in a couple of later fights. But we'll have to see what the actual results of that are as we do take down the last moments of spectator delay. We will be getting into our second game, and we'll see you all shortly here in our second game of this best of 5 tonight. Good evening, welcome back, everyone. We are here for our second game of the night. Both teams screaming off the fountain. I'm Gaspum, joined by Phantom GG.
And immediately, to kick off the action, we have Active Rush going in for an invasion, going for the top, going into the blue side campsite on the top side. Is Shayouts going to get out here? Ooh, this is going to be nice.
Certainly interesting. Shen, you seen here, DKT does have
Flash Q?
The lead off. No, looks like it's going to be a classic case of better safe than sorry.
Oh, nah. No punishment. Okay, so here's a little bit of reason why most people don't like doing these invades, especially in the higher velos. Because if you do an invade like this and it's unsuccessful, what the enemy team should immediately respond with, so this is a big mistake on Team Mental because it was a big opportunity wasted, is you're supposed to invade into the enemy jungle that's left unguarded and just ward the hell out of it so that way you can attract the junglers every single movement for like the next 3 to 4 minutes. And
Right.
very disappointed to see that they didn't do that invasion for wards. It should always be met counter for counter. If someone invades in your jungle, you invade their jungle.
Gotta have that punish. And you bring up a very good point there, Phantom, that one of the things that I see the really, really good teams doing time after time. Oh, hey, Jakey gets his red buff this time. Doing time after time is finding the opportunities that other, lesser teams might not. And I mean, that's the kind of opportunity you need to look for. That's the kind of thing that can get you so much presence in a game. And being able to prevent Bladed Thesis from having any early game pressure, pretty big deal. Is the classic don't stand behind the low health minion situation with the Caitlyn. Or as against Misfortune. Pardon me. But here we are in the game. A little bit of classic trading going on between these teams. Level 2 advantage for the Caitlyn. Storm 8. That's a lot of damage on Definigy, forcing that flash on out. Janna must respect the Caitlyn damage.
Really curious to how they play around this mid lane set, because one thing that Active Rush is famous for is time and time again, we see really good mid jungle synergy. Are we going to see those ganks come in again? Or perhaps maybe instead of ganks, we're going to see Zed and Trundle roam together into the bot lane. Maybe we see some really fancy tower dives.
Yeah. I mean, there's certainly potential for that, and that's one of the things that level 6 Zed can certainly enable, right? And it's also something that is kind of worrisome for a team that is not at a extremely high level, because tower dives are one of the things that is so easy to punish if it's not executed cleanly. And when you're against a Janna and a MF, I mean, it's a pretty juicy target for the potential there, but can you end up closing it out?
So,
but in the top lane, Vladimir in trouble a little bit too far forward. Does have that flash. Be escaping there, and the phase rush speeds him out to safety. But it's a nature summoner burned already for Rutledge's Beast, and DKT, no interest in trying to follow it up with the flash taunt there. So nice trigger discipline overall. Oh, great pillar from the Trundle here, but tanking tower. Jakey is here, finding the flash, finding the damage. Expo in trouble. The reload coming through from the Graves, but no follow-up mobility. And 2 flashes exchanged for 1 there. Victor escapes unscathed in the mid lane.
A lot of action in the early game, but no kills coming out quite yet. Curious though, is Graves going to be this really annoying invader? Because something that Orianna could do is she can just shove in a lane, and what I would like to see is for, after Orianna shoves in lane, for Team Mental to really try to get into Active Rush's face and try to punish Trundle and just take away his camps. Get Graves a big lead.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I feel like if you can get a Graves who's way, way in the lead in this current metagame, that's such a golden ticket for you to win the first 25 or so minutes of this game hard. And, I mean, that's exactly what the team who's looking to spike early does. Teleport coming on down there. Nice trap placement in there, but will miss. A big 2-man taunt there from DKT. VT Nelson in trouble. Doesn't have the flash. They're looking for a continued bit of aggression. The flash on through. Kill picked up by Moonpie. A great pillar from the Trundle. Bladed Thesis here getting kited out and obliterated. But the Peacemaker comes through from Energy and will take up 1 kill in exchange. 2 for 1 so far. Stormy looking to continue this aggression, perhaps. Will be forced on back. Expo is here looking for the Misfortune. Finds DKT instead. Gets the taunt under the tower. That's a ton of damage. And the last shot is enough. DKT with the outplay.
I really have to ask, what was Beast doing or thinking? Unless we're getting glitched out right now and the summoners are lying to us, he had TP up and he had a perfect minion to teleport onto and elected not to do it. And I promise if he did it, that would have been a 1 team fight in Active Rush's favor. Where is the communication going right now? Why are we not calling out these teleports? We saw it happen in the first game, and it's hurting them.
Yeah. Well, there's also the fact that not only could that have gone better, but Expo basically ints away a kill in the bottom lane, going under the tower, getting taunted on. Shen has just enough damage to finish that one off, and you really don't want to be popping that roam on the Zed into an immediate death. So real rough one there for Expo Zed, and already back in the middle lane. Not even down in CS versus this Orianna, but It's a little bit worrying that the Shen was able to get his hands on 2 assists and a kill there. Oh, man, this Shen aggression, I love it. I love seeing a Shen who is willing to aggress on this. Vladimir really doesn't start coming online as a champion until that 5th rank in his transfusion. And that's going to be something that, you know, Roach's Beast needs to be aware of, right? Because DKT is taking virtually no damage here.
Vladimir is more than happy to face tanks in the top lane because they don't often have a lot of kill pressure. And they do love Vladimir's skill, and that's just exactly what he wants to do, but maybe I spoke too soon.
Man, and the thing that is so interesting with the Shen versus Vladimir matchup is the trading patterns of both these champions. If you're Shen and you catch Vladimir out without a second half of his transfusion bar filled, you just automatically win that trade if you have the cowl, which is a very smart optimization for
Something that's
DKT.
also really cool about the Shen versus Vladimir matchup is that most of Vladimir's damage comes from that empowered Q, and he has a timer on when he can and can't use it. So if the Shen player is good, he can time his talent out just right to completely counter the empowered Q.
I mean, Roach's Beast just came back to lane, is at half health already. DKT just wants to wait out the transfusion timer, go in for the taunt, finds another one. Man, look at that damage. Just absolutely nuts. Really just getting shredded there, but starting to trade back a little bit here. Goodness gracious. DKT just clearly understands this matchup.
And it really makes me wonder and kind of worry. Did Beast choose this because the team asked him to, or was this a pick he actually wanted?
Roach is starting to come online here. Like, again, level 7, the rank 4 in transfusion is where you start seeing that cooldown really start to matter. Also has that Kindle gem. The more frequent transfusion usage, certainly useful for this Vlad. DKT needs to be smart about this. Graves coming on up, a good pool from the Vlad. We'll buy him out to safety. Coming on through here, no flash is available for Rutledge. Going to be forced to use that virtually on cooldown for Vladimir. Pressure all across the map, but only a 200 gold lead despite the 2-kill lead for Team Mental. The CS deficits are starting to mount.
This is why Nimbus Cloak is so good on champions like Vladimir, because people really like having Ghost, but when you have Flash and Nimbus Cloak, you basically have Ghost fused with Flash. Because then the Flash becomes a Ghost when it's done channeling with the Nimbus Cloak. It's such a lovely combination. So if people have been noticing why ADCs try taking Nimbus Cloak, they do it for that extra little bit of movement speed just so they can survive. Because sometimes Flash just isn't enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the number of times where you, if only I had an extra 50 move speed or so after that flash, but I mean, the benefits of Nimbus Cloak. And it's interesting how the rune system has changed and the priority on that has changed. You know, really over the course of a season without major changes to some of these keystones.
Speaking of innovation, we are seeing the Saber Grasp of the Undying Caitlyn. Curious if he actually goes for the triple BSR build that Saber does. For those who are wondering why you take the Grasp of the Undying Caitlyn, it's because Grasp of the Undying is actually a better fleet footwork that gives you a little bit less healing, but it's healing and damage at the same time.
Right. Well, Graves coming down here. VT Nelson, the target, does have that flash available to burst this in, and it doesn't even matter as Finderchee's final auto attack finds its mark.
Cheeky really stepping it up in the aggression in this game. Like, we saw a very unfortunate performance in the first game, but right now, he is out for blood. He is out for redemption right now. Because wherever Bladed Thesis has gone, Jake has always been there for the counter ganks, makes what could have been a really good play for Active Rush, honestly many times into a bad play, just through his presence and the way he just zones people out for the sheer damage that Graves offers.
There's also the fact that VT Nelson was a little bit disrespectful with that flash there. Could have used it a little bit earlier to get out of that situation, but instead held on to it the last second and was not quite enough to escape the inevitable final auto attack from Janna. And you're going to be seeing some of this pressure in the bottom lane subside as the recalls come through, and once again, Active Rush punishes the back timing of Team Mental. Nice pickup on that one, and the Ocean Drake is certainly going to feel good during lane phase for the members of Active Rush, right? Let's take a look at the CS differences here. Worth mentioning, Jakey does have a CS lead against Bladed Thesis, but every other lane, a 10 CS or more difference, nearing 20 in both mid and top, and so it's keeping this gold so even, under 1,000 despite the kill difference. The Dragon certainly providing its fair share of free stats as well. Nelson could be caught out on here again, but the aggression is not forthcoming from the Moon Pie Finergy bot lane duo.
I will say though, this CS lead that Caitlyn has is a little bit of a disappointment because the big reason why you pick Morgana Caitlyn is to completely zone and remove the enemy bot lane off the map, which is something they haven't really done. Miss Fortune is still a very relevant champion. We're not really seeing her get poked out here, and when you're playing Caitlyn against anybody, a 10 CS lead, that's it. When you're playing Caitlyn, you're going for that 20 CS. You're going for that absolute dominance, and we're not really seeing that performance coming out of Caitlyn here.
Yeah, I think part of that has to come for the attention that Jakey's played bottom, for the fact that there was that disastrous turn mechanically bot lane that has really put Active Rush behind in this early game. It's kind of curtailed some of that dominance, but it's not like Storm's Caitlyn is playing poorly. Does have the kill, does have the CS lead. And it's worth mentioning that Miss Fortune is not the one who's picked up all the kills. Janna has 2 of those teams' 4 kills. DKT forced to flash. Nice pillar placement from Bladed Thesis, and maybe a little bit early on the Subjugate from the Trundle.
Really big cooldown blown, especially now because the nerf that they did to Trundle was actually a cooldown nerf onto the ultimate. So wasting his ultimate right now is not something you want to do on a current match.
Nice ult from the MF. Look at that burst coming on through Caitlyn. Almost popped here, but a nice wrist herald usage in the top lane. It's going to take multiple tower platings here, and DKT forced very, very low. His top lane tower likely to fall. Does land that taunt onto the Trundle. They're finding that damage. Rutledge's beast. They're opting for this one. Some of that move speed, but will be forced on back there. Trying to take this tower. Rutledge looking for the play on in here, but it's Zed going for the flash. Going for the bonus damage, but can't quite close it out. Rutledge's beast trying to get some more on that one, but to the mid lane. Expo forced on back, and Orianna saved by the Shens. Stand united.
So, big note here. Orianna chose to get her while Shafter, but I am guessing she's going to be rushing at Stonius here because we do see that Seeker's arm guard. We do see her with boots, but if there's any item she completes first, I do see her going for Zonia's. One thing I'm curious if she does do is, for those who don't know, cool little trick. You can actually stack Zonia's and stopwatch. So if she can get
the double
Zonia's,
stopwatch trick. Oh my goodness. Have you ever gone against a Vlad who's done that and just had 7.5 seconds of invulnerability?
have you gone against a Lysandra who's done that?
Stop. That's against the law.
So if Orianna can go the next 5 minutes without using her stopwatch even once, that is gonna be a royal pain in the butt for Zed.
I mean, yeah, I feel like you used to, like, the double stopwatch it's extremely cheesy, and the only time where I really see it being useful is in extremely high level pro play where people are trying to anticipate the stopwatch or Zonya's usage and really banking off that one. But nice continued aggression in the mid lane from both the Zed and the Trundle, push priority very much in the favor of Active Rush, who now have regained the gold lead despite that kill deficit.
I wonder how many stacks Caitlyn has with the grasp so far.
Certainly interesting to consider here. Rutledge's beast still having some difficulties against the Shen, who is optimized for the adaptive helm. A nice choice against the Vlad damage, but not really the ticket against the rest of this composition. Shen's really just going to get picked apart by those autos. When it comes to team fights here in the first 20 minutes, VT Nelson very much in peril here, forced to flash. Janna coming down as well. One water from Moonpie will secure that kill. And once again, VT Nelson's getting picked on here in the bottom lane. That Morgana pick really not working out for the side of Active Rush so far.
Nelson is just. I would say a lot of it really has to do with the warding that Active Rush is doing this game. And it's not really a mistake that we often see from them, but in this specific game, they've been very slow in getting out these wards, and because they're not really getting these wards, Graves is time and time again able to just do these river ganks, and they've been working out almost every single time.
A lot of damage, maybe a little bit late, but Zed going over the wall, trying for Jakey. Jono holding off on the ultimate, but not forcing back in time. That's more than enough damage for Zed to clean up that kill. Teleport coming on through, and Rowage's Beast will be slain in reprisal. DKT now leading the charge. A great MF ult is going to separate the team, but DKT managed to put that field up just in time to eat the shuriken and the death from Expo Zed. A 2-for-2, a 2-for-1 so far. You're looking to continue this play on there. Jana eats the binding, but VT Nelson may be in peril. Orion Ultimate not available. VT Nelson will fall to the continued aggression of this team, ending up in a 2-for-2. Relish Beast. No teleport available. Shen does have that standing item, but a great pillar from the Trundle. Blade of Thesis sends the rest of the squad on back, but this is likely to be a dragon take in absence of active rush. Oh no, is it? It's the overstay. Oh, okay. Expo Zed escaping. Final score 2-for-2. Or 2-for-2. Bada boom, bada bing.
It's all good. Something that Morgana really needs to get used to is you're not this Yumi. You're not this champion that infinitely sustains your teammates' game. And where Morgana becomes a very challenging champion to play is she is a mage with a very tank type playstyle where she has to go in and be in melee range to have this big influence. But against a team that quite literally has a Graves, Orianna, and Misfortune, that is no easy task to do this game.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, gold is dead even despite that kill difference. And yes, the Infernal is a fairly big deal, but I don't know. This is rough. Again, Active Rush has a team that does very well into the late game. The scaling factor really not in favor of Team Mental, and part of me is just afraid that we're going to be seeing a repeat performance of last game, where this team that has the early power from Team Mental isn't able to close out fast enough to shut down Active Rush's scaling.
One thing to be noted is that Beast did choose to go the early game Vlad build with the CDR, so he's gonna be power spiking. It's kind of weird. So this build is meant to power spike sooner, but it has its real power spike much later. So the advantage of the other build is you get your big core items faster, but it takes longer to do. So you get what I'm trying to say here, right?
So what you're saying is that this is a build from Vlad that has a trough around the 25 to 30 minute mark, but then comes online in a big wave, versus this other Vladimir build, which is not very strong in the early game, but comes online as a powerhouse much sooner.
That's basically what I'm trying to say. So like, he does things now, but he's not going to enter that. Okay, I got a good comparison. In MMOs, bosses have two forms. Vladimir is not going to enter his second form until much later now, which is the form you want.
It's like when you fight the boss in Sekiro and you kill him once and he's got a second health bar.
Exactly. Good game. If you guys have not played it yet, get your hands on it. The Mystic Dragon, beautiful boss, like easily the most beautiful boss fight I've ever played.
I have played a lot of the Souls games. I liked Sekiro. It was a fun game.
What I liked about it is that they weren't afraid with experimentation. It was a very different game compared to what they usually make.
I think that Sekiro probably would have benefited enormously from a DLC that ended up implementing some changes to the way the game is played. Like, I think the biggest one is that spirit, like requiring spirit emblem costs for your sword techniques was not fun, and it made it feel like you were actively punished for purchasing those skills with levels instead of other stuff that didn't require your tool ammo to use.
It's kind of what I felt that Neo kind of did better. Like,
yeah,
I feel like the closest thing you had in comparison, like Neo had like the stances of low, mid, and high, and I feel like Sekiro would have really benefited from something like that. I
Yeah,
would.
because the basic combat loop gets kind of boring towards the end of the game, where it's just like, I'll mash R1 until it's not my turn, and then parry until it is again. Like, it feels like it's a good game. Don't get me wrong, but there's like maybe a little bit of depth lacking that it really, like, again, having played like Devil May Cry 5 in the same year.
Mm-hmm.
uh
Which is a game that's all about gameplay variety.
yeah, exactly. God, Devil May Cry 5 is good, and I like Sekiro, but it really could have benefited from like a balance pass, that maybe looked at like Spirit Emblem costs or that kind of thing.
You ever played
'Cause-
Yaminushi?
Pardon?
Is what I would call the original Souls game.
Oh, Onimusha.
Samurai versus Demon. Yeah, very very good game. I
Mhm.
want a remake. We need it.
Capcom can get on that right after they finish a Dino Crisis remake. But we're back into the action here, and here in this game, Gold is absolutely dead even. Just a total heat for these teams, right? And it feels like both are positioned to be effective this game. In the last match, it felt like Mental was definitely ahead, but you know, as you had said a number of times, if they got too far behind, it was a time bomb. It was a ticking time. Perfect description of that, Phantom. But this game, it feels like both of these compositions do have legs in the late game, and it's not as simple as, oh, well, the Cassiopeia gets to 40 minutes and auto wins, right?
It's gonna make this late game very different compared to the last one. Is that this is by heart a 1-3-1 comp, and I'm actually gonna be a little bit more suspicious of Active Rush because 1-3-1 is something that lower ranking teams struggle with doing time and time again because it takes a lot of communication to get
you have to be really good to do it properly. It's not easy. Well, let me tell you what I don't like is using this Rift Herald top lane when mid lane tower is stuff. I think that's a huge mistake. Man, that
makes it an even bigger mistake is if you're gonna do a play like this, you want to draw people to top lane, which they are.
Oh my goodness, this is a disaster for the Vladimir. Is gonna get caught. Nice taunt, nice flash, looking to slow down this Trundle, but does have the move speed. Will be able to escape, but still giving your life over and not even picking up a tower in exchange, though. Stormmate is able to get that structure on the bottom side of the map. This mid lane tower is so important.
Been done so much better, and this is where we say 1v1 takes a lot of skill to get done right.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you, Rift Herald was subpar, but what it could have done is you bring 2 to 3 people to top lane, and then boom, that's a free mid and bot lane tower.
Yeah.
And Active Rush just wasn't in sync with that play, because when you do that Rift Herald activation to the top lane, you ideally want the rest of your resources in mid and bot at the same time, so you have free actions going on at the same time, which makes it really hard for Mental to respawn, but it was just so off sync.
I think that not just the off sync, but it's an incorrect prioritization of objectives, right? Mid lane outer tower is one of the most important objectives in the game. Like, I would actually value it at approximately the same level as like bottom lane inhibitor. It's so vital to have it, right? Just because it creates so much more space for you on the map, and Finergy gonna pop a lot of cooldowns here, but still get crushed there. A big shutdown going to Expo, actually, and it's the one of the difficulties of giving supports lots of kills. They get shut down sometimes.
Another thing that's not really talked about is a big reason why it's so important to get that mid lane tower is because if you can't get it before...
The steal is for Graves, an ISL from the MF, but is going to get snared up by the Morgana. VT Nelson will fall. 1-for-1, Stormmate now in trouble as Caitlyn tries to kite this on back. Flashes over the wall on out to safety. Bladed Thesis as Jakey does go down to Expo Zed. They're trying to kite this out. Nelson in danger. Victor will get that kill, but Rollage's Beast has the move speed. Expo coming on over the wall looking for the shadow, and there's no way out for the Orianna, who gives the kill over to Rutledge, and it ends up being a knockdown drag-out fight, 3 for 3 at the end of the day. Expo and Rutledge both on blinking health bars. Oh no! Shadow!
Oh no! Wait. It was a strategical feed. Do you care that Janna has to shut down? He said, Jana, please take my shutdown. Make my bounty even smaller. Please make my bounty smaller. Thank you, Jana.
Oh, that's going to be a root landing onto the Jana. Oh my god. Gold transfer complete? Excuse me? Jana going down immediately afterwards. Is this fight continue? That's not allowed. This is illegal. Stop fighting right now.
Go home. Please, go, please, go home. Goodness. You have a family. They miss you.
Oh, maybe. It's one of those. That was such a sloppy battle in the jungle, right? Like, it was so clean for so long, and then it just ended up being, you know how in professional play that pros always look like they're about bronze 2 when there's a 5v5 level 1? It was one of those situations. Skill is something that doesn't exist anymore. It's just champions slapping at each other around the blue buff.
Yeah. Not much to add to that, didn't it? Yeah.
But I think a big takeaway here is that Graves was able to take that Cloud Drake, right? And the extra ultimate cooldown is something this team is going to look at a lot here. It's also delaying the soul, right? And getting that move speed on ultimate is so huge for a number of the players on Active Rush. You really want that on Vlad and Morgana, as well as the Trundle being able to get in there and be effective. Expo.
Oh, a second to get out. Expo is in safety.
Blade of Thieves is also forced to retreat as the impending collapse comes nearer and nearer. Also, seeing yet another tank Trundle build. I like this. I think it's the right choice here.
It really is. So, update, Caitlyn is going to go for the triple BSR build. She has already completed the Storm Racer and the Infinities. So, next up is going to be the Essence Reaper if she wants to be on track. A big reason why you go for this build is because a lot of people really meme Caitlyn's ultimate as being dead useless. But let me tell you, when you go this build with the triple BS swords, that ult will shred apart squishies.
Right, and what I see really smart Caitlyn players do is use that as a lead off here, and Religious Beast in that move speed looking to force a retreat there. Pops the ult, gets the help, will move on to safety, but Trundle and Morgana looking to rotate on down, trying to make this a pick off. Jakey still plenty of health there, is going to look to ult the Shen. The Tauntaun out to safety there, and Victor forced to use that Zanya's Hourglass to escape the pick-off attempt from Expo. And use that ult as well himself.
I want to remind you an earlier point that you brought up, Gaspomp. A big reason why mid lane tower is just so important to get, even to the level of an inhibitor, it really comes down to, if you can't get that tower before the 20-minute mark, it's just so easy for the team that still has the mid lane tower to just defend it and wave clear. And that is just really what you're seeing Active Rush really struggle to do. They almost never have an opportunity to finish off this mid lane tower. Yeah. And so because of that, they're just constantly behind in tempo.
And it's not just the fact that you don't have that tower and the structure gold. You lose out on so much vision control in the enemy team's jungle. Like, one of the best ways I've had this explained to me is that the portion of the map that you can reliably control, draw a line from your furthest remaining tower to the next furthest remaining tower on the outskirts of the map. Ooh, nice ult from the Zed.
She missed ult.
Oh, she missed ult. That's a lot of damage, and the Shen teleport comes just a moment too late. Goodness. But again, like, you miss out on the map control, and oh wow, Caitlyn taking a beating here. Jakey is in Storm. No flash available. Will fall to Jakey, and a nice pickup there. 3-man gank coming on through, trading 1-4 across the map, and mid lane tower still holding strong.
Dragon is spawning, and both teams are down one member. But I would say the Caitlyn is debatably a little bit more important than the Orianna. So Team Mental might actually have dibs on this Dragon.
I mean, that being said, the Trundle as well as Vladimir already there. Respawn still a couple seconds off for Victor. Goes Storm 8, 10 or so seconds behind. Jakey may be trying for the 50-50
Is he gonna steal it again?
KT on the sidelines has the flash available. Light Shield going on out. They're trying to scare the Graves out of the pit. Trying to go on in. There's the Misfortune ult. Easily secured and dodged on out of. The Vlad is forced to back on off there. Has that ultimate. Will find the backline. Move high very, very low. Sonny's Hourglass coming on through there. Jakey in as well. And Vlad will pay for it with his life. 1 for 1, the day. But still, Dragon going the way of Active Rush. Not a bad picker for them in the slightest.
Expo is just doing so much work against Team Mental and just expertly maneuvering around Oriana and Janna. You have to realize, you have to ask yourself, said such a good solo queue champion, why does no one play him in pro play? And once again, the answer is really simple. He's just really, really easy to stop. Like a good support with like just something as simple as like a Brahmar. Stop set in his tracks. And energy is no slouch. Janna is debatably one of his best champions. And Expo is just dancing around it. And it is a beautiful dance to watch.
And finally, the mid lane tower falls. That is such a huge pickup. Zettel coming on through looking for Finergy, who was dropped to a sliver, but will pay for it with his life. DKT at a sliver as well. Jakey coming on through, trying to make it a even pickup there. Pushing to the back line, looking for this play. Stormmate could be in trouble. There's the Channel coming on through to ward it off. DKT at very low health. Trundle goes on through, but a great shield from the Oriana is enough to save that jungler and Nelson. He flashing out to safety there. Rutledge, dude, what are you doing? You just completely AFK bottom lane. When look at those health bars, man. Oh, man, that honks.
Talk to their top laner? Does top laner not have mic?
Yeah, like, why did you teleport top? Ah! Okay, that was Amanda picking up Jakey here, but no, he's too slow. Wasted the teleport completely. Rutledge is something going on. It feels like there's such a total disconnect from him and the rest of his team.
Microphone's broken. That's gotta be it. Microphone's broken.
I can't fathom the thought process here.
Why would you?
This is like these have been such strange games with the pacing, right? Like the ebb and flow that you expect from organized 5v5 play has just felt so disjointed. It's almost like maybe these squads have not practiced up to the degree that we've seen them for some of these games.
I feel what's been going on with Back to Rush is we've seen them have substitutes multiple times. So it's impossible to say for sure, but perhaps they just have been having scheduling issues with scrims and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because the top lane teleports, like, if I was to give a grade to how teleports have been utilized in both these games, I would give it an F.
Yeah, we have seen some, well, the top lane teleports. I feel like Victor was very much on his center teleports in game 1.
Listen, that's a mid laner.
Right.
We are talking about top laners, good sir.
Oh man, look at this damage. Look at this damage that Chen is outputting. Forcing the defensive proto belt, trying to kite it on back there. Jakey finding the Zed, doing a ton of damage and blasted on back. Expo living the shred of health. Here comes Moon Pie
run.
The auto to finish it off. Goodness gracious.
The auto of destiny strikes again.
Ooh, 1 vs 2 situation, top lane. Zed looking for that priority target. Rest of the team roaming their way on up, finding lands, but there's no follow-up for DKT on this big, beefy Shen. Finergy with a pretty high AP Janna build, too. I mean, those W's actually do sting. The Zephyr actually not a insignificant amount of damage. Bladed Thief is also getting chunked fairly low as well. Lots of armor, no MR. Not a lot of bonus health either with the Cinder Hulk, which is kind of a rough place for the Trundle to be in as well.
Something that Active Rush needs to step up in is they're playing a 1-for-1 comp. They really need to let Zed just be in a side lane and just absolutely conquer. Sure, he's not going to be able to kill the Shen in a 1v1, but it's not necessarily even about killing the Shen. It's about making Team Mental spread out their resources when they don't want to.
Exactly. It's also like this Shen is actually a major point of power for their team, right? And Victor eating the pillar there, but rest of the team not available. Roach's Beast in danger here too. Doesn't have the ult quite yet. They'll have flash up in just a moment. He's trying to burst out Finergy, but can't quite find it. Victor definitely in trouble there. The pacemaker from the Caitlyn is in. Bladed Thesis dropping low. Zed flashes in for the ult. Will immediately find the misfortune. And now a well-timed purchase of that Guardian Angel. Oh, wow. What a nice ult from Shen there to save
good
the
guy,
life of
Shen.
Energy. Very nice stand, United.
Out of 1 to 10, how high do you think Energy's voice was when he was being ulted by Caitlyn?
Just like white noise. Current score 18-14, gold 100 apart. I actually can't believe how consistently close every single one of these fights has left both teams. Finergy dropped very, very low.
Zed just does so much damage.
Well, he's like he's 4 lethality items Zed. Like, yeah, he's gonna just smash through those health bars, man. Also picking up that red buff. Definitely gonna be liking that health regen. Stock time.
Where I'd like to go is, I know Expo is more than likely being tempted by that sexy Sanguine Blade, but please, Expo, do not go to Sanguine Blade. Instead, get yourself that beautiful Spell Shield lethality item.
Yeah, this is certainly what he needs this game.
Because if he can go in and can't even be CC'd in response, that is huge.
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the big defining things. Like, if Zed does have that CC immunity, that makes him so much more able to navigate these team fights. And with Baron on the board and another 35-minute plus game, certainly going to be looking for it, right? Like you've hit the point of the game where Zed is going to be having a much more difficult time landing picks, and so needs to be much more judicious with the usage of the go button there. But
and here is the power of 1v1. Have people split push.
Oh, Moon Pie. Oh, a nice hourglass there to save the life of the misfortune, but that's a one and done kind of cooldown as Trundle and Storm 8 are duoing
They're sneaking the Baron.
The Baron, yeah, I love this.
They're gonna get it.
Yeah.
The 1v1 comp just got a Baron.
Nobody else is in position here. An easy take and a really smart macro play. I mean, when you've got these split pushing compositions, you think, well, did Caitlyn and Trundle take it back? Is Trundle clearing his red buff? Nope, they're on the Baron, and a free and easy pickup for this pushing squad, and that is going to enable Zed in a big way if he's playing safe.
It took them time to start doing it right, but they are now taking full advantage of your 1-for-1 comp, and this is what they really wanted to start doing sooner. Have people spread across the map, confuse mental and where they need to be standing, and just take the objective of where they are not. This is the power of 1v1. And this is how you execute it.
Yeah, and it all comes down to just being able to push and more importantly, pull a team around the map in the way that you want them to be, right? Because this putting a team on the back foot, being proactive is always such a benefit in League of Legends, right? And now that you have a 1-3-1 setup, you've got the split pushing Zed, you've got the split pushing Vlad in the bottom lane. How do you match this? I mean, Storm 8's Caitlyn is doing well, 4 items on board for that 80 carry, and the range difference is big enough that Moonpie has a tough time, and it's going to be very difficult for him to match this pressure.
And that being said, I'm pretty sure the free on Active Rush is actually better than their free.
Yeah, oh man, look at that damage into Jakey. That was a single headshot crit from the Caitlyn. Expo looking to leave. Taunt does go wide for the Shen, but Expo can just wait for that to come back on up and leave. He doesn't have to fight. Like, he doesn't have to take these fights. Vlad has got some very strong free push in the bot lane. Orianna eats a pretty meaty ultimate from Storm 8. And even if Finergy is down here, this is like a damn if you don't situation. That's going to be the Guardian Angel down already. Jakey, one more shuriken would have been enough. There's Finergy going on through the ultimate in from the Zed, tries to find the target, but 3 have already fallen. five, maybe a fourth as well. Religious Beast caught out of position. This is the miracle fight for this squad. They go on in. They're looking to continue this chase, forcing the Proto Belt, the slow, onto that target. Finergy dropped down to a sliver. The minions are just beating the stuffing out of that Janna. That's going to be a pick up, and look at that healing. Moonpie gets obliterated by that damage. They're forced on back. This Vladimir is doing so much work. The transfusion takes the kill on Shen, and they've equalized 2 more kills and sent the remaining members of Mental back running towards the base.
What we were talking about before the start of the game, Vladimir is just such a hard champion to keep down. And if all you have to try to slow him down is a Janna, when he could just go to Sanguine Pull and say, "Psych, I don't care about your tornadoes," well, you don't want to be Team Mental right now. We are at
moly.
a 40-minute Vladimir with depth cap. And Vladimir is full build. Vladimir is online.
Straight bought like 3k gold worth of items there. What a huge turn. 320 CS here at 40 minutes. Religious Beast online all the way with this Vlad build. And I mean, you saw how powerful that was here. Such a great job kiting through the bushes, and disrespect of that Vladimir's power coming back to bite Team Mental so hard.
Dude, just need to group 5v5 and tell Vladimir, go ham. Ult everybody.
Oh, speaking of the Devil, Stormmate annihilating Jakey, and the ultimate kill coming on through here. Look at that damage from Relic. It's absolutely insane. Expo finding the backline, and Finergy going to get stomped by that Zed. 3 dead already. The Cloud Soul in their possession, and a minion wave charging down the mid lane. It's looking like a 2-0 situation for Active Rush. Oh, goodness gracious.
Shen has no armor anymore. The ult on him
continues. The ultimate from the Trundle lands. Victor will be falling here. The inhib tower is down. They still have creeps. It's only DKT to try to stop this push, and Shen does not nearly have enough gas left in the tank. Both Nexus towers fall. Now on to the Nexus, and it will be a 2-0 lead coming through for Active Rush, putting us to match point.
Mental needs to have a new strategy in how they attack drafts right now, because they're trying to go for these early mid-game type playstyle, but they are not closing these games fast enough enough. They getting outscaled consistently over and over. If you're going to play early game, that's fine, but you gotta end the games on time. Otherwise, this is just going to happen again and again. And if they don't have an answer to the late game playstyle that Active Rush is dishing out, this is going to be a free O. There has to be a change in the drafting strategy.
Yeah,
it's not an option anymore.
It feels like in these individual drafts, Active Rush has it all figured out. And like when you told me originally that Team Active Rush was a team you were looking forward to seeing their roster on, you know, I had some doubts, like how much better can this be than the roster that we're seeing? Well, the answer, clear as could be here. 2-0 is the lead, putting Mental to match point. One more win seals the deal and punches their ticket to finals. We'll see if that is going to be the way that it ends up, when we'll be right back in just a moment here on the Black Twitch League, twitch.tv channel. You won't want to miss it.
Man,
Welcome back, everyone. We have some rough news for you here tonight. There was there's going to have to be a forfeit here. Some very serious internet issues with the mid laner team captain of Team Mental, Victor 506. There were some problems last game, and it's getting worse here later on. So it looks like we will be seeing the forfeit coming through from Team Mental. Sad to say, really hoping to get some more good games in this evening, but that simply will not be the case. Being said, though, congratulations to Team Active Rush, who did come out with 2 big wins tonight before the forfeit came through, and looking forward to seeing their performance in finals coming on up.
A lot of big questions to come out for finals. So while the lag was very, very tragic, we did still see a very strong performance coming out of Active Rush. We saw some very interesting drafts, and we kind of saw them step away from their early game playstyle where mid and jungle try to get these 2v1 ganks onto the mid lane and transition to a more we are going to play a little bit safer in the early game and transition into a strong late game type of team. So I'm curious if they keep that coming up into finals, especially against a team that's strong in Ishtar, who traditionally just likes to dominate in the early game, or if they just go back to the way they used to play. But that will be seen next week. Very exciting match. Make sure to come on by. That being said, I'm going to pass the mic back over to Gas and Ito. Got some announcements coming up. Stay tuned.
yeah. So that's I'm so very very sad to hear that yeah, Team Mental is going to have to forfeit. Yeah, he's telling us that he has 300 MS. He's having to pause all game. They wouldn't actually be playing, and they can't get a random E sub in time. So that's going to be the situation. But that means that I mean, even given so, I think that the matches today were very exciting. We had some matches go pretty long and some great clips and team fights. And okay, we have Tygoon here. I want to see if we can get Rutledge's Beast. But what I was going to say is now we know who will be in the finals next week. We will have to figure out the specific schedule for that. I think I discussed with Team Ishtar that there may be some struggles with the scheduling. So we will announce the specifics of that whenever we figure that out. It'll be sometime next weekend between Friday and Sunday. We'll figure that out specifically. And yeah, that's going to be Team Ishtar and Active Rush will be our finalists. I'm wondering if Rutledge's Beast would like to come into the booth. We have Tygoon here from Team Ishtar. Yeah. And let's see if I can grab. I'm just going to grab Rutledge. Rutledge is fine. Hey, yeah, Rutledge.
What's up?
So, congratulations on your team winning the semifinals. You'll be moving on to the finals. I know it's a little bit, perhaps not how you expected to move on, but you guys were up 2-0. I guess you had a pretty good chance of moving on. I just wanted to have you guys here in the booth real quick, we got some time to talk, I guess, while we're gonna have people. Enter the giveaway, by the way. We do have a $25 giveaway going on in chat. Exclamation point ticket. You can get your first ticket for free. Every ticket after that costs 1,000 points. We'll be doing that. Let's say, let's see. And how long has the giveaway been going? It's been going on for an hour and 22 minutes. I'll pull it at about an hour 30, so another 8 minutes to enter the giveaway. In the meantime, we'll be talking to the 2 finalists here. You guys have been talking a lot in the trash talk chat. I've been seeing that at least from some of the teams here. You guys got some stuff to say? What do you think about your opponents for next week? We'll start with let's start with Team Ishtar. You guys were undefeated. Do you have any fears? You didn't lose yesterday. You haven't lost throughout the season, but Active Rush has been clearly dominant as well. So what do you think about your chances for next weekend?
Man, I think their mid laner is overrated.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Ethan, my boy Ethan3 is actually gonna show him up. Just watch, okay? Individually, all of our players are 3 times the skill level as every other player. Just watch. It'll be a show.
Rutledge's BTL.
Rude, what are you gonna reply to that? Those are some Latin words.
Well, it's pronounced Rutledge, but yeah, I don't know if someone's just delusional or what. Ethan did not look very good in the last series. There's some struggle games against, what was her name, CA Shrima, and those felt like the easiest games we played all season. So We haven't lost when we played with our lineup as it is right now.
Ooh, that is true. Let it be known that the one game that they lost earlier this season against Team Mental, they had, I believe, Expo's playing ADC, and then the other game that they lost after that, I think it was against Team Ishtar. However, they didn't have Rutledge or Expo playing in that game, so they were significantly weaker than their current lineup.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, you guys had 3 of your players starting, even 2, and I'm pretty sure those were like some of the fastest games of the entire season.
Yeah, our jungle was playing mid lane.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he's a lot better jungle, because kind of meh.
Yeah,
That's
that
why
was.
he's a jungler, not a mid laner.
Oh, dude. Speaking of jungle, yo, our jungle, Voperto, whatever you want to pronounce it as, dude. This guy, he could be a master jungler, and in one season he will be master. Trust me.
Roberto in the chat there. He's high. He's high.
Okay, I'm not.
Your captain has faith in you, Roberto.
Yeah. I think his mechanics are 10 out of 10. Okay. His game knowledge is 10 out of 10. We have 2 of the best shot callers, Frostbite and Voperto. They're actually too good.
I'm not sure if you saw that stuff that was in the chat earlier with that guy coming in, Loco Doco, something like that. Loco ADC guy coming in and shit talking Frostbite. That was kind of hilarious, but let it be known, Frostbite is definitely a mid to high diamond ADC player and has definitely deserved his respect that he's gotten here. Oh, that's one thing. So in the bot lane, Active Rush is not. You guys seem to be like a sort of a top lane focus, like a top side of the map focused team with where you put your players, and then I mean, I guess Team Star is not necessarily bot lane focused, but their bot lane is very strong. Are you guys are you worried about that in any way? Like, there's going to be a little bit different in how you guys play against each other whenever you have your full lineup. What's more important, the top side of the map or the bottom side of the map?
We just have Nelson on the team because he basically is like like Rock Lee in Naruto when he like has like the weights on his legs. You know what I'm talking about? That's Nelson for our team. Nelson is the the handicap that we give the other team just to make sure they have a chance. Because if we didn't put Nelson on the team, I think it'd be over. So we're expecting Nelson to end just like he did last game, but it's fine. We still love him. He's like our team pet.
Yeah, I think bot laners are all smooth brains, so.
Oh, wait, that's how you guys are both top side of the map. You guys are both top. Wait, so if Rutledge is playing top and Tygoon is playing top, who has the advantage there in the top lane?
I already said in trash talk, yo, I'm the best.
Tygoon.
Yo, 100%. Hey, respect.
Oh, we got
a lot of high
we
skill
got
cap
Finergy
champs
in
on
here
that
too.
Mordekaiser. Did you play that Mordekaiser 3 games in a row last time?
I hit him with the spicy Ornn pick, gotta.
Yeah, the Ornn pick was game 1. That's true. He got the first blood on the Ornn pick in game 1. Oh, Finergy from Team Mental, you're here. Sorry to hear about the fate of your team. It is. I did definitely want to see more of those games. So Finergy, as a third party that has played both of these teams, what is your predictions for next weekend?
I'd still say Ishtar. Having played both of them, they're a more well-balanced team. I wouldn't say overall solid, better players, but I would say in a fucking whole, they're a better team. They cohesively played better than everybody else this entire season.
Okay, yeah, makes sense, and that shows what their undefeated record. Rutledge, do you have a response to that? Your team seems to be a little bit top heavy. We all know about your star in the mid lane, Expo. You know what? I wondered, from the experience of person that plays with Expo, what do you think of him? Do you think he's like an alright person? Do you think he's like insane? I mean, like what's the experience of playing with Expo? Because we always have this perception of him from the outside.
Well, in draft, he just wants to play like random ass shit. He says he wants to take. Because in Zal mid, he what else did he talk about today? It's basically just kind of reining him in during draft because he just kind of wants to take all sorts of random picks mid lane and just I don't know. He trolls sometimes. Like nobody ever points out when he does troll ass shit, which is interesting to me. But we have a good laugh when we hear everybody talking about how he carries the team when he's like 1-10.
Yeah, that's very fair. I think there's a little bit of the hype train for Expo, so everyone just focuses on all of his successes whenever he pops up, but we don't really talk about that time that he kind of messes up. Like that time that he went bot lane this game and kind of got taunted by Chen on the tower and may have died. We kind of don't, we don't really
But
talk
we
about
roasted the hell out of him when he did that. He was not allowed to slide on that.
Expo's KDA looked good. Dude, Rutledge actually carried that game, by the way, for sure.
Yeah, I think Rutledge needs to get what you talking about. I never heard of that. Yeah, I think Rutledge needs to get a little bit more. He got to get credit. He is the captain of the team, and he also definitely performs every single time that he's out there on the floor. I that's why I was saying, like, whenever I heard that both him and Exo wouldn't they be there for the Team Star match, I'm like, oh no, like not having Expo, maybe that's good enough because Active Rush plays in other tournaments. They're a good cohesive team themselves to just kind of add Expo to that. Who turns out he's a troll. Oh, well, whenever he says stuff like that, do you then tell him what to pick? Like, what do you do whenever he says troll stuff? Like, does Zed pick this game? Was that his idea? Was that yours? Typically, I don't like Zed picks and comps.
I usually let him give me options, and then I just comb through all the shitty ones and eventually get to a reasonable pick.
Okay.
But I mean, generally, I decide what gets drafted. But I like the team to give like what they want to play, give a few options, and I try to make a cohesive comp with.
Hey, sounds good. All right, so I'm definitely looking forward to you guys competing out there on the Rift next weekend. Let's have a fantastic best of 5 similar to this. Give me more clips. I love it. We'll try to build some hype for that. We'll do another giveaway, and we're about to pull the giveaway for the one tonight. It's been an hour and 30 minutes. So if you haven't entered yet, you better enter within like the next before I finish the end of this sentence because I'm about to close the giveaway in 3, 2. I mean, it's delayed, so too bad. Jerryman 01, Jerryman, where are you? You're gonna have to. I mean, I'll DM either you DM me on Discord, or I'll find you and I'll DM you with the RP code. But that'll be Jerryman with the win. That was. I don't think he even bought many tickets, did he? Yeah, he bought 4. Okay, so that Jerryman will be getting the. And then now we're going to try and get the host. Thank you so much for Gas Pump and Phantom GG and everyone and Parasite, and of course coming through. The people who competed today, Team Mental and Active Rush gave us some amazing quality entertainment today. So appreciate that and appreciate you guys coming through.
I always like to go to the circus.
Yeah. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and throw a host over to Apple Jacksu. I see that he is hosting. He is streaming a game. Apple Jax is also one of the staff members here. He's also one of the featured streamers. If you've checked out the featured streamers channel here in the BTL ad space, people who are friends of the community who we've known for a while, they message me some information about their stream and I post them there. And then we will always try and support them whenever we get a chance. So with Apple Jax being live, we're going to throw the stream over to Apple Jax. Be sure to say hi to him. He's always a super nice guy and helps us out here a lot.